Hi, I'm AJ Nash, Digital Intelligence Advocate for Authenticate, with the weekly Cyber Intelligence Brief for 25 July 2025. We've had another busy week, so let's talk about the most critical highlights. Remember, this is just the wave tops. For complete details, check out the entire report on our website. We continue to see a concerning convergence of nation-state espionage operations and financially motivated ransomware deployments, including widespread exploitation of critical vulnerabilities. This signals a critical need for accelerated patch management and enhanced monitoring across all enterprise environments. The most dominant threat this week was the widespread exploitation of multiple Microsoft SharePoint zero-day vulnerabilities by Chinese nation-state actors. Now, this campaign, which was dubbed Tool Shell, represents one of the most significant enterprise infrastructure threats this year, with over 400 confirmed compromises spanning federal agencies, critical infrastructure, and private sector organizations across 29 countries. Most notably, the U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration, the guys responsible for maintaining our nuclear weapons cache, well, they were breached via CVE 2025-53770. Other affected federal agencies included the National Institutes of Health, Department of Homeland Security, and Department of Education. While officials stated that no sensitive or classified information was compromised, this incident represents a serious breach of critical national security assets. Chinese nation-state actors Linden Typhoon, Violet Typhoon, and Storm-2603 demonstrated impressive coordination as they exploited a couple of CVEs for unauthenticated remote code execution, cryptographic key extraction, and persistent access on affected on-prem SharePoint servers. Critically, Storm-2603 uniquely combined traditional espionage objectives with the deployment of Warlock ransomware, which blurred the lines between state-sponsored and financially motivated operations. Beyond SharePoint, we saw active exploitation of critical vulnerabilities in other platforms. A zero-day vulnerability in CrushFTP managed file transfer platforms has been actively exploited since July 18th, allowing threat actors to gain administrative access on over 10,000 vulnerable instances globally. This is CrushFTP's third critical zero-day in 15 months. Not a great record. Interlock Ransomware Group escalated targeting of critical infrastructure sectors across North America and Europe using sophisticated social engineering, drive-by downloads, and implementing double extortion models. A UK retail giant co-op disclosed a breach affecting 6.5 million customers and causing widespread supply chain disruptions. Scattered Spider is suspected to be responsible for that. Separately, Thailand's Ministry of Labor suffered a ransomware attack by the Devman Group involving an alleged theft of 300 gigabytes of sensitive data and encryption of the systems. There's a $15 million ransom demand that's been reported for that. Hunters International breached Dell's Customer Solutions Center, stealing 1.3 terabytes of data. Now, interestingly, this group is abandoning ransomware deployment to focus solely on data exfiltration and extortion, which means they're adapting to improved backup and recovery capabilities. Looking at broader trends, we're seeing two concerning developments. There's the accelerated zero-day exploitation timeline. We've been talking about that now for, a month, maybe 6 weeks. Flashpoint analysis reveals that 54% of prioritized vulnerabilities in the first half of 2025 had exploits available or were actively exploited. The average time from vulnerability disclosure to exploit availability has decreased to less than a day, which is effectively eliminating traditional patching windows. This demands a fundamental shift towards preventative security architectures and zero-trust implementation. The other trend is that surge in global cyber attack volume and critical infrastructure targeting. Checkpoint Research documented a 21% year-over-year increase in global weekly cyber attacks in Q2 2025, reaching nearly 2,000 attacks. We also saw approximately 1,600 ransomware incidents disclosed in Q2 2025, primarily affecting business services, manufacturing, and construction sectors. Now, the professionalization of ransomware operations is evident, with groups like Keelan adding call lawyer features for victim pressure tactics and systematic targeting of critical infrastructure continuing to escalate. Given these critical threats, here are some recommended immediate actions. First, listen, you got to disconnect internet-facing SharePoint servers immediately, or at least implement emergency AMSI mitigations pending full patching. You need to execute emergency patching for those Microsoft SharePoint vulnerabilities, along with mandatory ASP.NET machine key rotation and IIS restarts. The federal deadline for these is July 28th, which means you've only got a couple days to do this. Implement enhanced monitoring for spinstall 0.aspx web shell deployment on SharePoint environments too. Also, you need to verify the CrushFTP installations are updated to versions 10.8.5-12 or 11.3.4-26. Now, for full details on all these events and more, with concrete actionable recommendations, check out the complete brief on the Authenticate blog. All right, well, that's all for me this week. Stay vigilant.